By 2030, artificial intelligence was supposed to write all of our software and replace 90% of human developers. Instead, it has effectively turned the industry's most skilled engineers into highly paid tech janitors. In early 2024, corporate executives fell hard for a highly optimistic assumption. The thinking among leading tech CEOs relied on what we might call soy-based logic. They believed new automated code generation tools could build complete enterprise software from scratch in seconds. Meta's Mark Zuckerberg vigorously pushed this narrative, seeing a clear path to instantly boost profit margins by replacing human payroll with server compute. Google's Sundar Pichai similarly architected massive workforce reduction strategies, steering his organization heavily toward an AI-first development pipeline. The statistical fallout was immediate. Throughout 2024, companies laid off roughly 124,000 software developers to make way for this promised automated future. But data firm Gartner recently observed an enormous contradiction. 50% of the companies that laid off workers to make room for AI are expected to rehire for those exact same roles by 2027. Wall Street expectations crashed directly into the reality of computer science. Executives are now quietly reversing course, caught in an industry-wide boomerang paradox they are largely avoiding mentioning in their earnings calls. To understand why this massive pivot failed, we have to look below the boardroom hype and examine how this code actually integrates into real systems. The original pitch was entirely about volume. AI tools promised to output lines of code up to 10 times faster than a human typing on a keyboard. But recent research observing seasoned engineers in practice found they were actually 19% slower when they were forced to use these AI tools. This chart directly compares error rates between human and AI developers, and it reveals exactly why that slowdown happens. AI-generated code contains up to 1.7 times more errors than code written organically by humans. Because developers now have to accommodate this massive influx of flawed logic, companies are maintaining up to 38% more total code. The overall complexity of the system aggressively balloons. A study by GitHub reflects exactly how this feels on the ground. 49% of development teams reported a sharp decrease in real productivity simply because debugging a machine's mistakes takes significantly longer than writing the correct logic from scratch. IBM found that 4 out of 10 development teams hit critical compatibility walls when trying to integrate AI outputs. The models can generate syntactically correct functions, but they have zero understanding of business context or legacy architecture. Generating text rapidly does not equal shipping functional software rapidly. Instead, it generates catastrophic technical debt at a scale the industry has never seen before. The situation deteriorates further when developers attempt to have the AI fix its own mess, encountering what are essentially terminal hallucinations. Researchers at Princeton University discovered that AI models fail to self-correct in more than 60% of cases. Even when a developer explicitly points out the error, the model often confidently repeats the mistake. This traps the modern developer in an infinite loop. They spend hours trying to prompt an automated agent to debug broken logic that a human would have mapped out correctly on the first attempt.
Beyond the sheer frustration, this compute cycle creates a massive macroeconomic problem. Every time an AI regenerates bad code, it burns through API rate limits and GPU processing power, putting severe financial strain on the host companies. Inside these organizations, developers are watching executives panic. The realization is setting in that outsourcing basic coding to massive neural networks is becoming too computationally expensive to sustain. Big tech firms like Alphabet, Microsoft, Meta, and Amazon are expected to spend a combined $600 billion in capital expenditures this year alone, largely to keep these incredibly demanding AI engines running. This automated coding revolution is turning out to be a highly inefficient, capital-burning engine. Without constant, high-level human supervision, the entire structure collapses. This dynamic has violently fractured the 2026 job market, and not all engineering roles were affected equally. AI actually did succeed at one specific thing, cannibalizing the basic soy-based tasks of beginner developers. It is incredibly efficient at writing boilerplate files and basic syntax. The structural shift is obvious. Over 54% of companies plan to reduce junior positions, while spiking demand for senior engineers. This creates a logistical nightmare. AI generates immense volumes of code, leaving a bottleneck where only seniors can integrate it. Tech giants didn't actually eliminate the bottom tier of development work. They simply automated it into a massive pile of spaghetti code, and now they desperately need their most expensive employees to clean it up. Down at the very bottom of the reality iceberg, the corporate hype has fully evaporated, replaced by genuine operational desperation. This has birthed the boomerang hiring phenomenon. Companies are now quietly reaching out to the exact same senior engineers they laid off a year ago, begging them to return.
Across the tech sector, up to 35% of new hires are currently made up of past employees coming back to their old desks. Google serves as the prime example of this reversal. Around 20% of their software engineering hires for 2025 were returning veterans. Management needs these specific individuals back because veteran developers understand the highly specific, undocumented quirks of internal systems. They can detect the complex architectural errors that neural networks are completely blind to. Up to 96% of developers admit they do not fully trust AI-generated code. Their daily workload has permanently shifted away from purely creating new features, turning them into high-paid supervisors tasked with untangling machine-generated messes. Rehiring senior talent at a massive premium completely defeats the original corporate goal. Instead of lowering payroll costs, these companies are shattering their own projected profit margins just to keep their platform stable. Amazon provided definitive proof of exactly why humans are still required, experiencing 4 critical system errors in just 90 days, entirely due to AI-assisted code changes. Artificial intelligence is not an autonomous worker. It is an aggressive, high-maintenance tool that actually increases a company's reliance on top-tier human talent to actually ship a final product. In a profound twist of irony, the massive corporate initiative to automate and erase the software engineer only proved how utterly indispensable the senior developer truly is. This has been the Raw Deep Tech. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.